Hey everyone, welcome to Unfiltered by Unacademy, a new initiative by Unacademy in which a learner is going to talk to an educator about the concerns, about the problems and the issues they are facing while preparing for any competitive examination. And me as an educator will provide the best of the best solutions to such kind of concerns. And it is going to be a heart to heart talk and it will be unfiltered. As the name suggests, everything is there and the learner can ask anything and everything that they want to ask about. So let's hear what Sarthak, the learner today with us, has to ask, and his question might resonate with you all. Whatever he has to ask might be some of the issues that you guys are also facing. So you will also get to learn a lot. So let's get started. Sarthak, you can fire away. You can ask for whatever questions you want.
Yes, sir. So, good morning, sir. Myself, Sarthak Sarode. I had been preparing for GATE Electrical since last 3 months, and I am currently in third year, basically sixth semester. So, sir, the most important problem which I am facing nowadays is like revision. Currently, I am studying power electronics subject, and previously I completed electrical machines. So now I have to revise my electrical machines subject as well as I have to revise the concepts of current subjects. Those are concepts which I studied on previous days. So can you please suggest some efficient revision strategy which can help me to revise the previous subjects as well as the topics of current subjects?
So, guys, the question that Sarthak is asking is one of the most prominent questions in GATE category. Why is that? Because in GATE, we have 12 to 15 subjects that we need to prepare. And every time we go past two or three subjects, we start losing out on the first few subjects. And that is what is happening with Sarthak, and that is what might be happening with most of you guys. So, what is an effective revision strategy? First of all, let us understand the meaning of revision. For me, revision is not just about looking at the notes and then just going through them once. That is not revision at all. Revision involves basically three elements. One is the notes revision, second is the practice part, and the third one is the test. Okay. So whenever when we are studying a subject for the first time, a good practice is to make short notes. Now, what are these short notes and how they are created? Basically, whenever you have studied any topic, then you will be solving questions on that topic. So, by solving questions, you will come to know which are the concepts that are needed to actually solve a problem. So, that way, based on suppose a chapter is, let us say, 50 pages long. But out of that 50 pages, we have only utilized, let us say, 4 to 5 pages for actually solving the question. Rest of the things were for knowledge, for establishing the concept.
Okay.
Then those 4 or 5 pages should go into the short notes. Now, these short notes can contain important definitions, they can contain formulas, but whenever we are writing a formula, we have to write the description of that formula. What is description? What does each term in that formula mean? Where that formula is going to be utilized? And what are the exception like where you should never use that formula? So whenever we are writing a formula, we have to write all these things around it, and that will go into the short notes. Now, short notes can be also based on the examination that you guys are targeting. Like if somebody is targeting PSU examination, then short notes will be majorly theory oriented. Whereas if somebody is targeting an exam like GATE or ESE, they will be majorly numerical oriented. So now when I start to revise, suppose I have kept weekends for revision and weekdays for covering the syllabus. Now, when I start to revise, I'll pick up my short notes, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through those short notes. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, when I go through those short notes, I will try and keep the time minimum. Let us say if I have a subject having a short notes of, let us say, 50 to 60 pages, then I will try to revise it within 2 to 3 hours. Okay. After that, I'll be solving a set of 50 to 60 questions based on that topic. Now, these 50 to 60 questions, where will they come from? Ideally, they should come from previous year. Previous year question bank is not something that you should attempt when you are preparing a subject for the first time. Why? That time, your concepts are not at all developed. And if you are solving PYQs, most of the times what you will be doing is you will be looking at the solution. But as soon as we look at the solution to a problem, that problem is wasted. We can't utilize that. We don't learn much from it. But once we have studied a subject and we have revised it, now it is expected out of you that you should be able to solve the problems that were asked in GATE. Now, when you are creating a set of this 60 to 70 questions, what you can do is you can select these questions from various chapters. Suppose there are 4 chapters. I have decided that first chapter is rarely asked, I'll solve 10. Second one is more important, I'll solve 20 out of that. Third one is moderate, so 15. So based on the weightage given to each chapter in the examination or the number of questions that you see in the previous year, you can decide the number of questions that you want to take up from every chapter. Now, while solving these previous year questions, one thing you have to make sure, you have to go from the latest year to the oldest year, not from oldest to latest. So let us say that in the first revision, I target that I'll solve all the problems from 2021 till 2016. Now, when I will revise the subject next time, I'll start from 2015 to, let us say, 2010. So that way, incrementally, I will solve PYQs. In every revision, I will have a certain set of questions to practice. Now, once we have practiced these problems, we will practice them with a timer on our hands. Suppose I have a set of 60 questions. I'll set aside 3 hours. Okay. In these 3 hours, I have to practice, or I'll divide it into 2 sets and I'll give 1.5 hours to each set. After practicing, whichever questions we were not able to solve, we will try again. And even if we are not able to solve after 2-3 attempts, then we are going to take a look at the solution, or we can ask doubt in the class. Once that part is done, after that, what we are going to do, we are going to attempt a subject test to test our understanding, to test our knowledge level. And once we score well in that subject test, or even if we don't score well, we have to analyze the result. Like suppose I gave a subject test of a subject containing 5 chapters. I have to analyze which chapters I was not able to solve in the test. Because our weaknesses should be very, very pinpointed. If I say, suppose my network analysis is weak, then revising entire network analysis will take a lot of time. But if I say I'm not able to solve the problems based on transient in network analysis, then it is a very, very specific problem that can be easily tackled. So you have to always pinpoint your weaknesses. So this entire process can be done over one weekend, that is Saturday and a Sunday. Okay, easily it can be done. So every weekend we can set aside for one subject, and if it is a very, very lengthy subject, we can set aside 2 weekends for it. So that way we will be continually able to revise whatever we have learned previously. And the most important thing is, while studying any subject from now on, make sure that you are noting down the important facts, not important facts, but you feel, but what are actually required to solve a problem. So always create short notes once you have practiced the topic.
Sure, sir. So, okay, sir, that is fine. Like, I just got to know from you that I have to revise the theory as well as short notes on my weekend, and I have to solve PYQs and important problems which are taught in the class. So that is about the revision. But sir, my next question, which I get many times in my mind, that is like, as suggested by you, that we have to solve PYQs and class questions are sufficient for GATE, and we have to keep revising them frequently. But sir, like, is there any need of solving standard books questions? Like, if I'm done with my PYQs and class questions, so should I jump on standard books questions, or directly should I start giving test series?
See, what happens in standard books are never written based on the GATE exam or any other exam whatsoever.
Okay.
The objective behind standard book is to impart knowledge. And that knowledge might be helpful to a BTech level student, to a MTech level student, or even a PhD level student.
Yes.
That is why when we are solving a standard book, finding the relevant problems is similar to finding a needle in a haystack. So that is why what will happen, standard books will contain lots of problems, and some of them might be actually really, really good. But the percentage of the relevant problems out of 100% will be somewhere between 30 and 40%. But when we are referring to a study material, That study material may be provided to you on Plus by an educator. That study material might be available as a question bank on Plus. That study material might be available in the special classes being taken by an educator. But those questions have been brought upon by educator. They have been carefully selected. So the percentage of relevant problem will be quite high. That is, if I am solving 30 questions, I am sure out of that 25 will be really, really helpful for me. So what happens is whenever we are preparing for an exam like it, we have a very, very big constraint about time. We have a limited time on our hands and we have to utilize that time in a really, really good manner. Otherwise, we will not be able to get the best time. So we have to optimize the time. And in order to optimize the time, you should not be wasting time in looking for the good problems. Rather, you should be directly going after good problems. So
Yes.
what we do on Unacademy, as Sarthak might have seen, we provide daily practice paper on Unacademy. Now that practice paper contains problems from the very, very basic level to the very advanced level. Now those problems have been selected by us. So they are bound to be good because we know what our student actually needs. But a standard book is never written from the GATE point of view. So going after that can definitely enhance your knowledge, but I would recommend that to the people who are still in their second year. They have good 2 years till graduation. So they can boost their knowledge as much as they would like. But a person having 8 to 10 months on his plate till the GATE exam should be really, really focused on making each and every day count. So that should be the strategy. So Sarthak, what I would say is after a certain time, whatever problems we have solved, we actually tend to forget them.
Yes, sir.
So like what I did during my preparation days, I solved one objective book. And after an year, when I was again preparing for GATE, I was not like, I did not remember the answers to that. So I solved the same book again. And all questions were looking like fresh to me because I did not remember their solution. So that way, we don't need a large set of problems in order to practice for the GATE exam. But what we need is a good set of problems which can be practiced over and over again. And now, when I say about practice, it's not about cramming up the solution. The solution should intuitively come to your mind. The solution should strike you. Like, but whenever I'm doing step two after step one, that should be logical. It should not be because I have told you to do that. You are not a robot. You have to think why is it being done? Why only step two makes sense? Why we could not do it any other way? Or even if there are 3 or 4 ways to solve a problem, what are those 3 ways to solve a problem? And which one of them is the fastest and the most optimized way to solve? So when you analyze such sort of things, then you develop analytical ability. Now, if I give you the solution to each and every problem, like these are the 5 steps that you have to follow, and you will arrive at the answer. Then basically what I am doing is I am making that entire process not knowledgeable, but mechanical. And if that is happening, whenever the GATE people will twist a question even by the slightest amount, we will not be able to grab it, we will not be able to solve it. And that is
Yes,
what
yes.
happens with majority of students. So when I say develop problem solving ability is to think analytically that whatever information has been given in the question, how can that be of use while solving a question? What does each and every line in a question mean? Like when I actually read a question, when I personally read a question, when I go through a line, I make a numerical sense of it. Like, suppose in electrical machine, it says it is a separately excited DC machine. As soon as I read it, I will write down in my notes that phi is constant. So that sort of a thought process I follow. That what it means to say in context of solving a problem, not just reading the language, what it will actually mean and how it will come in use when we are solving a problem. So when you are solving problem that way, even if you revise the same set of problems, it won't be any issue. But still, many people would be after a lot of problems. Definitely that is there. Because what I believe is students at different stages of preparation need a different number of problems to clear a concept.
Yes, yes.
Somebody might understand a chapter in just 10 problems, and somebody might not even feel confident after 100 problems. To solve this issue, what we are going to do, guys, We are going to start a series called as the Master Blaster series for GATE. It will be a series that will be run in special classes, and we will solve 10,000 problems for each branch in GATE examination, but subjected to the condition that the attendance is good. If people are interested, people are attending, definitely we'll be solving 10,000 questions across all subjects of a single branch. And after that, you won't need any question bank to be referred, because there the educator will be solving problems live in front of you, and you will be learning a lot out of it. So that will again solve your problems about the question bank.
Yes, sir. Sir, my next question is like, this question is very silly, I think, but sir, this question comes in my mind very often, and though it varies from person to person, but sir, like, how many hours should we study on daily basis? That is first thing, and second thing is, as you said, that we have to practice as many as problems as we can. But like, can you just give some target, like for one particular subject, how many problems we should complete before attempting it? And third sub part is like, how many test series, how many full length tests we should give? So this is
So,
just
so
thing.
let
Yes,
me
sir.
take it one by one. One of the most common questions that I come across is how many hours of study is actually needed. So let me tell you about my work cycle that I
Yes,
follow even now. Whenever I start a day, I'm not actually sure about how many hours will I need to put in. Okay. So even if it is a Sunday, I don't care. I have certain targets that I need to achieve. If that can be done in 4 or 5 hours, it's good. If that needs 15 hours, then also fine. I'm fine with it. But what I do is I maintain a journal. I maintain a diary. In that diary, what I do, there are some recurring tasks. In my case, those are the classes. Like at 7 a.m., I'm taking a plus class. At 12 p.m., I'm taking a YouTube class. Those are the recurring tasks that will be written against the time. Then some tasks might be managerial, or some tasks might be random that might have come up. Those tasks I will write in a checklist, like that I need to complete these. Same thing you guys can do, like you can write against time the classes that you are gonna watch. Okay.
yes, sir.
Because that is a fixed schedule that you have to do. Other than that, whatever self study you are going to do, you can write it in a checklist. Now, whatever targets I have for today, suppose I have a target of solving 50 problems from steady state analysis. I have a target of solving, let us say, 30 problems from state space in control system. These are my two targets for the day. I will write it in a checklist. Now, whenever I complete these tasks, I'll put a tick mark against it. I'll only sleep once I have completed the targets that I set for the day. Now, if they are completed in a very less time, I can dedicate rest of the time to entertainment, no issues. But make sure whatever you decided for the day, that is done. In that case, you will never ever need to monitor your hours. So we have actually three levels of planning. One planning is the overall planning where we decide, like by the end of this month, I'll be able to complete the syllabus. Then in
Yes,
the other 2 months, I'll be revising. In the last month, I'll be giving a test series. That is a very, very rough plan. Then the next plan is on a monthly basis. Like this month, target are going to be what? Like this month, I'm going to complete these three subjects. And the third target is a daily target. Once I have decided that, suppose I'm completing engineering maths in this month, I will divide it on a daily basis. Like suppose I'll say I'll dedicate 5 days to linear algebra, I'll dedicate 10 days to calculus, then 3 days to complex. That way I have divided my entire month. Then I know on a daily basis what I need to do in order to complete linear algebra in 5 days. So once we have that sort of a practical approach rather than an emotional approach, you will never ever get demotivated. You will never ever get depressed, because you are very, very clear in your mind what you need to achieve. And once you achieve that consistently over a week, over 2 weeks, then your confidence will be sky high, because now you understand one thing: whatever you decide, you have the capability of achieving that. And that sort of a self confidence is very, very necessary in exam, that if you decide to do something, you can actually do it. So what I would recommend to each and every student, now you guys are grown ups, you understand that just dedicating hours to study is not going to help your cause. Okay.
Yes.
Because see, if it was the case, then always droppers will come on top and the freshers or the college going students will be at the bottom. So guys, time is something that is a constraint with us. So what is the actual problem in cracking any competitive exam is the optimal use of time. If we have unlimited time on our hands, let me tell you, suppose you don't have any classes on Sunday. Now you wake up, you will actually realize the most wasted day is actually Sunday.
Yes.
Because when you woke up, you knew you had the entire day. So you became lazy. Why you became lazy? Okay, so I still have 20 hours, I'll do it. I still have 15 hours, I'll do it. You might have even seen many YouTube videos about this procrastination where they make memes about it. Like engineers are only studying like last night before the exam. Even 3 days ago, they will think कि यार कल पढ़ लेंगे अभी तो 2 दिन बचे ना 2 दिन में कर लेंगे syllabus. So when I was in my college, now what used to happen? There used to be a break between exams. So now my college mates used to call me and ask me कि how many hours will it need to complete the syllabus? If I tell them it would need around 4 5 hours, so then what will they do? They'll go and play a cricket match. They'll leave. कि चलो ठीक है 4 5 घंटे लगेंगे रात को करते हैं अभी शाम से क्या करना है सुबह से क्या करना है आज तो खेलते हैं. So that sort of an attitude we carry when we have a lot of time on our hands. So that is why if you target a particular number of hours, then what will happen? Those hours will not be optimally utilized. The quality of study in those hours will be actually very, very low.
Okay.
And always remember to get a top rank, quality matters more than quantity. Okay. The second thing is how many tests should we give? The number of full length tests that you have to give should be somewhere around 25. It can be plus minus 5. That must be sufficient. And these mock tests you can start either from the beginning of December or from the mid of December. That much time is sufficient till the gate examination.
Uh, okay, sir. Sir, and next question which I want to ask is regarding stress management and how to stay motivated throughout the preparation. So what happens, like most of the time I set daily basis goals, as well as I have to-do list of things which I have to do on particular day. But sir, at the end of the day, if I'm not able to complete my task, then I feel demotivated, or I feel guilty, and then I'm not able to focus well on the studies. So this is one part. And second thing is, like most of the times what happens, when we are studying consistently, we have some college work, like exams come in between, we have projects, assignments, so there is a gap of 2 to 3 days in between. So like how to patch up this gap, and after that we don't get motivation of studying, or we feel lethargic. So can you suggest some ideas for that?
So the first thing is whenever we miss any target, we feel demotivated. That is
Yes.
true. But what should be our thought process about it? See, whenever I'm not able to complete any task in my task list, I carry it over to the next. Now, all my tasks right now are very, very necessary for the company and for my team. So I can't just put it off. So next day, what I'll do, I'll put in extra hours to compensate. When I was studying as a student, that was my attitude always. If I'm not able to complete a task today, I'll compensate with my sleep. The best thing that I always sacrifice, the first thing that I sacrificed was the sleep. See, sometimes we are a lot distracted, like we are watching movies, we are watching web series, we are doing a lot of stuff other than studies. You are free to do that. Definitely, you should do that. But do one thing, take that time out from your sleep. Then your mind will clearly understand what are your priorities. Don't take that time out from your studies. If you have decided that you are going to study every day for 6 hours, you have dedicated 6 hours slot to solve problems, to study theory and all those things, then keep those 6 hours aside and now do rest of the things. If you are not able to complete your task today and you want to watch a movie, complete the task, cut the hours of sleep and easily watch a movie. Then after 2 3 days, your mind will itself tell you movie can wait, but first we need to rest. So your priorities automatically get sorted. But definitely remind yourself one thing, each and every task that is out there on your to-do list is really, really important. If you are not able to do it, compensate it tomorrow. Okay. The next day you should be able to compensate it, even if you have to sacrifice a few luxuries like sleep, watching movies, watching web series, and then you can cope it up. Now, the
Yes,
next
sir.
part of your question, when we have a gap of 2, 3 days, what happens? Now, suppose a project comes, an assignment comes. You are not able to study during that. Do one thing, revise your short notes. Give 1 hour, not more than that. Revise 10 pages of short notes. That way, your confidence won't go down because now you know you have at least done something during these days as well. So that will keep you in touch. Actually, what happens when a break comes, we don't actually forget the concepts, but we lose confidence in those. What we feel when we come out of the examinations or the college exams, suppose college exams took 10 days to complete, 15 days. After 15 days, I'll have a gut feeling that I don't remember anything that I actually studied earlier. Now that becomes a bit of an issue because my entire confidence has gone down. So if you want to retain that confidence, make sure that you dedicate some time on a daily basis, even during the exam, and that may be as less as 30 minutes. That is just to keep you in touch with the concept, that is just to keep you motivated and to keep your confidence high. You don't actually need to give 3 hours, 6 hours, no need to do that. But don't completely leave out the gate preparation part. Do it in some or the other way. If nothing works for you, give a subject test. Even you can do that much. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, last question I would like to ask is about silly mistakes. Like sometimes what happens, I know the concept of entire question, but then I lose marks in science, addition, subtraction, or calculation mistakes. So how can we avoid that?
See,
Uh,
Sarthak, one thing that I can tell you from my experience is your rank, if it does not come out to be good, if it comes out to be average, the reason for that will not be the questions that you never knew. The reason will be the question that you knew very, very well. Why? Because when we have a confidence while solving a question like this question, I know really well, I can solve it. Then we become lenient. Then we let our guard down, we go easy on it because now our mind is very, very relaxed. Okay, this question is easy. I have done it hundreds of times, but then you will commit an error. So whenever you see a question that you can actually solve in a minimum amount of time, make sure that even if you have to give 10 seconds extra, you do it correctly. So
okay.
what happened when I appeared for examination in 2018 when I got AIR1? That time, one thing was for sure that my knowledge level was such that I could solve 100% of the paper. Now, the only thing that could take me down is myself when I commit an error. So I went extra cautiously to each question. I knew I can solve each and every question that is out there. I know this much. But now, if I commit an error, then that knowledge will not come in use for me. So I what I dedicated is whenever I solved a question, I quickly looked at it again at once so that I'm sure I haven't committed an error. So the same thing you have to do in 65 problems. If you are able to solve 55, make sure those 55 you have done very, very accurately because you knew them really well. Those 10 questions are not going to break your rank, but those 55 questions can actually make or break your rank.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So train your mind in such a way that you keep reminding yourself when you see a question whose solution you are very clear about. Okay, that question you have to remind your mind, okay, here I can commit a mistake. Okay, here a calculation mistake can occur. When I already know I can make a calculation mistake, most of the time I will not be making it. Okay, so like when you are solving a lengthy numerical, the only thing that could go wrong is a numeric calculation mistake. The second practice you have to follow is whenever you are solving a question, write down the solution very, very neatly. When you are writing down in a neat manner, definitely like what happened with me when I appeared for exam in 2014, I was deriving the fundamental of a Fourier series. Now there was a term containing 1 by 2 pi outside. It was there in the first step, but till the last step it went missing. I never realized that I have left that term. So that question was incorrect in the examination for me. So that sort of mistakes can happen when you are actually nervous. What I believe is your handwriting is always directly proportional to your confidence. If your confidence level is high, your handwriting will be very, very good. But if your confidence level is low, you will write in a rubbish manner. But make sure whichever question you are solving it neatly so that even if you have to look at it again, you are actually able to understand what you have written down. So always the last half an hour of the examination should go to rechecking the problems where I had certain doubts that I could commit an error. You have to recheck those. So once we recheck those, you will always see, you will always come up with at least 5 to 6 mistakes that you did in the first attempt. But in order to recognize those mistakes, you have to write down the solution clearly. Otherwise, what will happen when you come back to that question? You will actually solve it again to verify your answer because you are not able to read what you had written earlier. And come back to problem after a certain time. Don't come back to that problem immediately. Come back once you have forgotten the solution. Because when I have forgotten how I approach that problem, then I'm checking that solution from an examiner's point of view. See, suppose I'm your teacher, I'm your examiner. When I look at your solution, I'm looking from a third person point of view. I actually don't know what you have done. So I will clearly pick up the mistake wherever you have done. But when I actually know what I have written, then I will skip some steps. Okay, this will be correct, this will be correct. And I'll actually check only the calculation part. But the actual error might lie in the formula, might lie in the steps, but I will skip it in the confidence that, okay, this happens. So this is automatically correct, right? But when we come back after a certain time, then that problem becomes visible to us because now it's like we are checking the solution created by somebody else. So identifying problem in somebody else's solution is very, very easy as compared to our own solution. Even when I am solving a problem in a class, sometimes I commit a silly mistake. Now students will keep telling me, sir, this is the mistake, this is the mistake, but it is not visible to my eyes. I personally feel I have done everything correctly because I'm skipping that step where actual error lies. But how the student was able to identify it? Because they are looking at it from the third person point of view. So you have to become that third person for yourself. And that could only happen if you revisit a question after half an hour to 1 hour in the examination. Okay. So be very, very careful about the questions that you actually know and can solve in the exam. The questions that you don't know, no need to worry about them. If you don't know after preparing for an year, there is a high chance that most of the students in the examination hall are not able to solve such a problem. When I went into exam, I knew one thing. If I am not able to solve it after preparing, this question would be tough. As simple as that. And we don't need to worry about tough question. We need to worry about the easy ones. Right? And guys, at this point of time, I would also like to tell you one thing. If you like the conversation we are having, then please do like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Press that red icon of subscribe and do hit that bell icon so that you get notified whenever any new video comes up, because these conversations are very, very pure. These are all unfiltered. Any other thing, Sarthak, that bothers you during your preparation, it may be very silly. It does not matter because it is your issue, and something that sounds silly to me might be really, really important to you. So anything that you would like to ask?
No, sir, it's fine for me so far. Actually, all my doubts, whatever I had, are cleared by you. So thanks a lot. And I hope so this thing will help me a lot and I will practice.
And any other issues apart from your preparation, because this is unfiltered conversation.
Yes, sir.
We don't actually have to stick to the preparation part only. Anything that you would like to ask before we
सर वही होता है कि लाइक एक्चुअली ऐसा होता है ना कि जब हम प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट करते हैं, अभी मान लो कोई नया सब्जेक्ट स्टार्ट किया तो इनिशियली मोटिवेशन की लेवल काफी हाई होती है ना, बट देन 1 वीक के बाद में लाइक मोटिवेशन नहीं रहता, जो भी है वो सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन के बेसिस पे हमें पढ़ना होता है, तो वो नहीं होता है मेरे से. आई मीन आई कांट स्टडी कंसिस्टेंटली 4 to 6 आवर्स, और बीच बीच में जो स्पेशली जो आफ्टरनून के आवर्स होते हैं तो उसमें काफी स्लिपी फील करता हूँ, सो वो भी एक प्रॉब्लम है. आई थिंक दैट्स रिलेटेड विद सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन एंड ऑल.
देखो क्या होता है, ये चीज मैंने बहुत ज्यादा जगह देखी है. इवन व्हेन आई वॉच और चेक माय लेक्चर वॉच टाइम, it decreases from the first lecture to the last lecture. If you see the views on a YouTube video, they will decrease from the first lecture to the last lecture. So consistency is something that is lacking in each and every student.
Yes.
But always remember one thing, at least for GATE exam, that GATE exam does not actually need very, very intelligent people to crack it. It does not need a high IQ level. But what it needs is a consistent effort. So here, whoever will be the topper will be somebody who has dedicated a constant amount of time throughout the year. Okay. So here, even if you are not really intelligent, even if you are not brilliant, you stand a good chance if you can develop just one quality, that is consistency. Okay. So whenever we start a new subject, definitely we are excited about it. But remember that all the topics in that subject are important, not just the first few topics. So if the question comes from last topic and I study the first few topics really well, I will not be able to solve that problem.
Yes, sir.
So the only thing that is a challenge in your preparation is the consistency. And believe me, my friend, when you are consistent, you will automatically beat 95% of the candidates just by becoming consistent. No need to solve thousands of problems. No need to be really brilliant. No need to be a very, very high scoring student. Just be consistent and then see the magic. So what I tell each and every one of my students, don't target becoming a topper. Target becoming a topper in terms of the hard work. That is, nobody is as hardworking as you are. And once you achieve that in your life, na, that nobody can work harder than you, then you will automatically beat everybody in your competition. But the first thing we need to become is the hardest worker out there. And about the sleepy hours, definitely you can create your schedule. You don't need to study the entire day. You can, after lunch, you can have a break of 1.5 hours. You can sleep, but make sure that time is not being wasted. That is, whatever we are doing is taking us towards our goal. Even if we are watching a movie, we are watching a movie. Even if we are studying, we are studying. We are sleeping, we are sleeping. But don't do multitasking. If you are like you are scrolling WhatsApp on your phone as well as you are reading a note, then what will happen? You will count that time in your study time, but actually you were not studying. So from your viewpoint, you actually studied for a lot of hours, but that productivity was lost. Okay. So what you can do for time management, you can prepare a daily log at the end of the day. What I did today, from what time to what time. Then you will actually understand where your hours are going. Where are they getting wasted? Okay. So like my personal thing is, when I use social media, is most of the time just before sleeping. Just before sleeping, when I'm not able to sleep, half an hour, 45 minutes, I'll browse Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, all this stuff. The rest of the day, either I'm working, I'm watching movie, I'm taking meetings, anything. But that is very clearly defined. The actual time wastage comes from the social media. So fix a slot for it when you will be going through the social media. Don't keep it random. If it is fixated, then your time wastage will be minimized.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Sarthak. It was wonderful interacting with Sarthak, and I hope you guys also got to learn a lot and it will help you in your preparation. So, guys, keep watching such of our episodes. Many more episodes are going to come up, and most of these problems are going to resonate with you guys as well, because you might also face some problems that Sarthak is facing right now. But remember one thing, whenever you have a guide in your preparation, your journey becomes a lot easier, because it will be you who will be taking the journey, but your guide can actually show you the direction. And that is what happens when you join an academy. When you join an academy, you have top educators showing you the path that you have to walk upon to reach your destination, your goal of becoming a topper. So that is something that you should ponder about. And Sarthak, one thing that I would like to ask you, since you have joined an Academy Plus, how has been your experience of Plus?
Hello, sir. I didn't hear due to some network issues. Can you please repeat the question once again?
So one thing that I would like to ask you, Sarthak, since you have joined an Academy Plus, how has been your experience so far?
Sir, experience is very nice. Actually, the main benefit which I am facing right now is like I don't need to take full notes, as I can just note down the major formulas and all, and later I can download the PDF and revise the concepts. So that is the first benefit which is there. And second thing is like I had been watching your lectures and lectures of other faculties also. So like they have taught the content in optimized way. It's like not lengthy teaching has been done, and lots of numericals are solved, so I can improve my analytical skills as well. So it was a good experience so far. And yeah, there are many test series are also there, practice questions are also there. So what do I do is like once I have watched the lectures, so suppose I have completed particular topic, that is transformers, then I will solve the practice questions, so that increases my problem solving ability as well. So experience is very good so far.
Okay. So guys, if you wish to join an Academy Plus, definitely you should give it a try. Okay. And you can check out the features that we have in our special classes that run every day by the top educators. Definitely you are going to fall in love, because here all the top educators of the country are there on a single platform. And the best part is you can decide which subject you want to learn from which of these faculties. You have multiple options for a single subject, and you should always choose the educator who suits your learning style, like who suits your learning needs, whose teaching style is such that you are easily able to grasp a concept. The teachers that we have are all equal in terms of knowledge, in terms of their capabilities, but the only thing that varies is the teaching style. So choose an educator who you like the most and learn from the best educators in this country and become the best at each and every subject. And definitely you can also crack it with a top rank in GATE examination. So all the best to all of you. Let's crack it.